Here we go again. It's Christmas time. Another year where a fat, grey bearded man breaks into people's houses and leaves them some presents if they were nice throughout the year. Of course, he doesn't mind if you're naughty, if you know what I mean. Of course, one of the things I look forward to at this time of year, besides looking at my bank account begging for mercy after spending so much money on presents, is staring at the television watching Christmas movies. Here's the thing with Christmas movies. They're not exactly high art. There are some exceptions, but the majority of them, let's just say, will never get any Oscar nominations for Best Picture anytime soon. Does that devalue them as movies? Of course not. They serve their purpose as entertaining flicks that you'd watch with loved ones, and they'd give you that sense of warmth inside. Or maybe that feeling is a desperate need to take a shit after eating too many Brussels sprouts for Christmas dinner. Even some of the worst Christmas films have certain appeal, regardless of whether you like them or not. For example, there is Santa Buddies and The Search for Santa Paws. They're bad movies, but do you know what's the best thing about each of them? Take a guess. Come on, take a wild guess. That's right, it's the cinematography. A lot of the shots in these movies are actually kind of cool and dynamic. Of course not! It's the dogs and the puppies! They're so damn cute! Look at them! I just want to give them big hugs and give them all the love in the world. They are so adorable! I don't know how else to segue into the next part of the video, so
Oh, Jesus! Oh, God! Oh, Jesus! God! Oh, Mary, Mother of Jesus! Jesus of Nazareth!
What? Why? How? Honestly, I don't know what to say here. Released in 2002, the Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa is a Christmas movie about a group of kids living in a quiet little mountain town getting up to mischief. Oh wait, that's South Park. Okay, this movie is about... Actually, let me check the movie's Letterboxd page. You know what? I can't sum it up any better. Clocking in at 42 minutes and with a budget of around $650,000, this movie is an absolute trip. There is so much wrong with this movie that I can't even begin to comprehend how bad it is. In fact, I think it's easier to point out what the movie did right. So here's what I unironically like about the movie. The movie was distributed by WB and aired on TV throughout December of 2002. And never again. For the longest time, this movie was considered to be lost media. This movie is so bad that the WB decided not to show it again, and it also has to be the reason why the network ceased to exist 4 years later. There was no physical or streaming release of any kind. For a while, people thought this movie was a myth, questioning if it even existed, even though there was some TV and cast listings proving it to be real. But even then, it was impossible to rewatch. That was until 2015, when a guy by the name of Daikite from the Lost Media Wiki managed to obtain the director's copy of the film, Chris Laisher, more on him later, and uploaded it to both Vimeo and the Lost Media Wiki. Before writing the script for this video, I took the liberty of recording my live reactions to seeing this monstrosity of a 3D animated film for the first time, and throughout the video, I will be inserting these reactions at various points, so I hope you enjoy what we are about to experience. Okay, I am going to be watching Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa. I've never seen this movie before. I am aware of its reputation of being really bad. But yeah, this is going to be my live reaction to seeing this film for the first time. It's only 42 minutes long, so we'll just go ahead and see how bad it truly is. The movie begins with the main character of the story, Ricky, getting home from school. He likes to rap and move at the speed of sound. They're running really fast. Move over the Flash. These guys can run faster. We not only find out that he is poor, but his mother died, leaving behind a teddy bear as something to remember her by. Going back to the poor comment here, but it doesn't really look like he is so. His house, who he shares with his grandmother, looks just as big and depressing as everyone else's, and those houses are occupied by rich families. I actually didn't realise he was broke until I watched it a second time. Yes, I watched this movie more than once. Ricky fully intends to give the bear to his crush, Nicole. When he gets to school the next day, he gives the bear to her, and she's like, "Ew, that's disgusting, I don't want that."
Have you lost your mind? Are you purposely trying to embarrass me? I can't even exchange this nasty old thing.
You see, Nicole is a spoiled brat who hates the poor and all that stuff, so it's no surprise she doesn't even like the gift Ricky gave her. Yet she takes it anyway and throws it in the bin.
You might be smart with books, but you sure are stupid.
They're not.
So upset, Ricky decides to run away. Why didn't he just get the bear back? I mean, he was running in the same direction as her, so what was stopping him from getting it back? It's not like he hates it or anything. He was precious to that bear, so is he stupid or what? He doesn't even bother coming back later to find it. By the way, Nicole is voiced by Paige O'Hara, someone who voiced Belle from Beauty and the Beast. The original, that is, not the live action film that stars Ewan McGregor.
That's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ricky writes letters to Santa and is about to post them, but one of them flies out of his hand and lands in front of Nicole's house without him realising. She finds it and proceeds to read it. Ricky wishes for a video box. Man, I remember when that video box first came out. You know, it had such brilliant games like Yo-Yo and Yo-Yo 2. He also wishes that everyone in his class would get what they wanted, even though we see Ricky get bullied earlier on in the film by those same people.
Ouch! Ow! Ow! Miss Parrington, get him away from me!
Get him away from me.
That means he likes you. Just doesn't know he does.
Okay, so you just got like sexually assaulted by one of your classmates, and imagine just being told like, "Oh, that just means he likes you." Like that. The worst advice you could ever be given. The letter also states what the bear meant to him. This makes Nicole feel bad for what she did, and so to make amends, she decides to retrieve it with the help of her friend Lenny.
Actually, her name is pronounced
Lenny.
and not Lenny.
And Ricky's friend Smishy. However, they couldn't find it in the bin, so they make their way to the dump. It's there where they are ambushed by the class bullies, Todd, Tug and Zeke, and on top of that, they are being chased by guard dogs. Smishy throws his sandwich, which he carries around all the time, in the face of Todd, and this makes the dogs chase the bullies out of the dump.
Oh, look! There it is!
For fuck's sake! Of course it would be right there. The gang finds the bear and Nicole gives it back to Ricky, but he insists it's a gift for her.
Nicole, this was a gift for you.
But doesn't it mean a lot to you?
Yes.
Yeah, it just smells really bad. I don't want it anymore. Okay, that was a bit of an awkward pause right there. You also have the B plot involving
Lenny.
who is having a crisis of faith after being told by Nicole that Santa isn't real. Feeling pretty down about it, her dad comes by and says that Santa is indeed real. Turns out Nicole was kidding the whole time. Every single character in the film comes by to Lenny's house to celebrate Christmas, and the movie ends in probably the best way ever.
Shut that door.
The end. Why is the animation so bad? God, look at that girl. Like, look at how detailed that snowman is compared to everyone else. Like, move over, Picasso. This girl, whatever her name is, the pigtailed girl, has your number. Honestly, the fact I've gone this long into the video without acknowledging how god-awful the animation is probably the biggest achievement of my life. This is the kind of animation you'd expect from a film student's final project, not a film that has a relatively big budget behind it. I'm convinced the money that went into this movie was only used to hire the voice cast. You have Mark Hamill, Nancy Cartwright, the previously mentioned Paige O'Hara, Jodie Benson, Deborah Wilson, and Walter Emmanuel Jones. Apparently Mark Hamill didn't even remember being in the movie, when he was asked about it on Twitter.
Hi, sweetheart. I understand you can use a little.
Is that Mark Hamill? Oh my god.
Santa's on his way. Believe me? Coming.
Oh my days. That is... I should have known. The weird thing is that the voice acting isn't actually bad. In fact, it's the only thing in the entire film that is somewhat competent, except for Great Grandma's. The reason why Great Grandma talks the way she does is because the voice lines ended up getting corrupted at some point, and for whatever reason chose not to re-record her lines.
Oh, see, kids nowadays.
At first, I thought it was some sort of creative decision by the writers, but no, it was completely unintentional. Here's my impression of Ricky's grandmother, so here it goes. I am sorry for doing a racist and stereotypical impression of a fictional old black woman. I promise that I will learn from this horrendous mistake I made and will never do it again.
Oh, see,
I mean, what am I supposed to say to this? Why is she acting that way? Hello, future me here. While editing the video, I actually found out the news that Jodie Benson was actually the voice actress for the character of Eve from Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. It's interesting because like 20 years after the game came out, no one knew exactly who voiced her, but then like Jodie herself came out and said it was her after all this time. She's using a different name, Suzette Mignette. Apparently this is because of the fact she wanted to maintain that like family friendly image, because she is like a regular for Disney, and obviously Metal Gear Solid is not a series for kids. Speaking of Metal Gear Solid 3, did you know that Laurie Allen does the voice for the boss in the game? And I kind of find it funny because she also voices Pearl from SpongeBob.
Boss?
Good morning, Daddy!
I know it has absolutely nothing to do with Rapsittie Street Kids, but yeah, I don't know. Alright, back to the video. Okay, let's get back to the animation. Wolf Tracer Studios were the people responsible for animating this film. It turns out that Chris Rose, who was one of the executive producers, never got the chance to have a look at any of the work being done during production, to the point where his first time actually seeing the film was on the night it first aired. In fact, the entire production was such a disaster, and the blame was mostly set at the director's feet, Colin Slater. Good old Colin wasn't exactly helpful throughout the process. He would go out smoking while everyone else was working. Occasionally he would look over the shoulders of the animators and say, "Good work, keep going." That's right, no constructive feedback or anything. It also doesn't help that they were using pretty outdated software to animate everything, that being 3D Choreographer. Just days before the film came out, they were left with only 2 animators, and they had to crunch harder than a crunchy. I feel sorry for these animators who had to work on this film. If they had a better director, better software, bigger budget, and more manpower, then the animation would have looked a lot more appealing. There were some interesting character designs. The way the characters look is somehow both generic and iconic at the same time, because even though they look normal, these designs will remain inside my head until the day I die. My favourite has to be Zeke specifically, because he looks like Chad from Bleach if he dyed his hair and is a bigger stoner than John Stones.
Wagwan, generals.
Whoa, the pressure's really getting us.
How is that guy in blue actually able to see anything? His eyes are like literally covered. They are meant to be elementary school students, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly because they don't look any younger than most of the adults. They all look and sound like teenagers or young adults. The only kid in the entire film that sounds like a kid is Todd.
Where'd you get the ratty old bear? Does it walk you home from school?
But even he looks too old to sound like that. He looks like a divorced father of 4 struggling to pay the mortgage on his house. Smishy has a scarf around his neck and carries a sandwich around with him in his hand.
Yes, Mrs. Parmington.
God, I just realised, look at that size of that sandwich. Like a flippin' foot-long sub from Subway. This was probably the case because they most likely didn't want to animate his mouth moving while talking, and they wanted to hammer home the fact that he is indeed fat.
He's fat!
You also have all the non-character assets. I kid you not, most of the props here look just as, if not more realistic than the characters.
Hey! What's that?
Oh no, it's a PNG of Santa and his reindeer. That we only see a shadow of. There's actually a Santa display that's just a JPEG, and it looks so jarring and it stands out way too much. There are a lot of assets that are completely 2D. It feels like I'm watching a Nintendo 64 Let's Play of an unreleased game. They feel like they don't belong in this movie. When my sister gets a horse as a present, I generally found it hard to tell whether it was supposed to be alive or not, because of a lack of movement or noise coming from it. At the beginning of the film, Ricky was looking inside a toy shop window that featured what I assume are toy animals. Both of these things just look so lifeless. Me confundió tanto que ahora hablo español. That's a scheisse. Who wants a camel as a Christmas present? Or like a T-Rex with really, really long arms? If you take away the entire audio, then watching this movie feels like I'm looking at one of those surreal entertainment videos on YouTube. The way these characters move makes it feel like I'm in some sort of drug-induced lucid dream. The way they move their bodies makes it look like they're about to break every bone they have.
What is it about girls being
Like when they just like aren't talking, they just really are doing like a really still idle. Like, or they're not even doing like an idle animation. They're just like just standing really still. Look at Blue Guy right there. He's standing perfectly still. Like, you might as well be a statue. Hair and limbs would sometimes clip through clothes or the environment itself, and it makes me think these people are ghosts the way they can phase through anything. Some of these characters' facial expressions range from animatronic to I just ate a slice of lemon. The way they run is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. My favourite running animation has to be Nicole's, because it's like she's trying to move at max speed, but slowed down significantly, and the arms flailing around puts the cherry on top.
Santa Claus!
The fucking stride she took. This movie's a musical, by the way, and it's just as bad as you would expect it to be. Ricky would rap every now and then.
Because all the toy stores are looking mighty packed. Electronic toys, video games, balls and bats.
That's called motherfucking bars,
You have Nicole spending for what feels like an eternity standing in the same spot in her bedroom and only moving her half top of her body, singing about how great she is and Santa are.
Look at me, look and you'll see the best kid in
the world! Tomare Tokyo! What in the hell is this?
There's Lenny singing with her dad about Santa as well.
Santa alive inside of me and you.
I beg your pardon?
The end credits also contains a song that feels like it's going on for an eternity as well.
Could there be a place in time where tears are turned to laughter?
the feeling of a Christmas day for now and ever after.
Anyway, that's it as far as musical numbers are concerned. Let's talk about the writing now.
Just how good I can be.
This is still a better musical than Joker Folie à Deux. I mean, that's really saying a lot, because this is just kind of bad. You wonder why Ricky would even use something as important to him as his bear as a present for Nicole. Why would Ricky even want to be with her? As I said earlier, Nicole is one mean bitch. Is he one of those guys who wants bitchy bimbos who walk all over them?
And of course, they have the most handsome husband and father.
Alright, you big egomaniac.
I am the perfect little girl.
Another egomaniac. No, she learned it from him. We see Nicole and looking at Ricky write one of those letters to Santa, and she's like, "Look at that fucking dork. He's got a candle." Why is he lighting a candle in the middle of the day? It's not even dark.
Ricky, who gave you that candle?
Nicole makes fun of for believing in Santa, and it's moments like that which make me wonder why those two are even friends in the first place.
It's sold in the malls, so I know they spent lots of money. Uh-huh, and we go to this really...
Are these people, like, friends or not? I actually, like, don't know. Like, I'm really paying attention, like, so hard, and I might be stupid, but it's like, I honestly don't know. I understand that she had to go through a character arc, and that's fine, but the change in her character is so sudden, it's like I just suffered from whiplash. It's kinda hilarious how the only reason why Nicole has this sudden change of heart is because one of the letters Ricky wrote to Santa just so happened to slip out of his hand and lands in front of her house and then reads it. How did Ricky not notice it flying out of his hand? He must have butter all over his hands for the letter to slip out like that. She is lucky that Ricky is a forgiving person, but after all the trials and tribulations she had to go through to get the bear back, Ricky ends up friend-zoning her.
I apologize. I lost my train of thought.
Haha, sucks to you, Nicole. At least I never got friend-zoned by a girl. I mean, I never asked one out yet, but, like... Alright, goodbye, everyone. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, I'm sorry. The fact this movie had the nerve to tell its audience that there will be a sequel coming out set during Easter after the credits shows just how confident they were that this is going to be a franchise, and it's quite laughable. Just like the 2017 Mummy film, the whole RSKCU, which is the Rapsittie Street Kids cinematic universe, failed miserably and each stood at only one movie. At least this movie is miles better than the initial Mummy movie trailer. Of course, for as bad as this movie is, a part of me is curious as to what the Easter special would look like. Would it be just as bad, better, or worse?
I guess we'll never know.
This film is so bad that it is the stuff of legend and needs to be studied by the world's best scientists in order to understand just how awful it truly is. In fact, this is more of a cautionary tale than a movie to me. It should be shown to every studio executive during every pitch meeting for an animated film or show, basically using it to say, if you don't give us the necessary resources for this project, then it will look like this disaster flick. In the end, Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa is a better movie than The Godfather Part 1 and 2 combined. Francis Ford Coppola ain't got nothing on this cinematic masterpiece. Yeah, that's right. What are you gonna do about it? Losers! No, if you excuse me, I have to appear in court for defamation. I mean, apparently labeling fans of the Godfather movies as losers is a crime. So, yeah, I suppose that's just the way it is. Right. Wish me luck. Damn it, I can't believe I'm here again. I wonder if these rats could let me finish eating these Brussels sprouts.